and welcome to the Skin and Spirit podcast with Emmie Becker. Today is a very special day for me. I get to interview my my mentor and really good friend, Ashley James, who I've known for, we got to be pushing 12, 13, maybe more years of, going through life and health journeys together. And I'm excited today, especially because she has written her first book, and I'm hoping to share more about that with you guys. But before we get into introducing Ashley James, I wanted to say that I'm grateful for you guys to keep following me, to keep listening to this podcast as we just start and launch, and bear with us in the bumps and everything, and just everyone that's sent in prayer requests, I am praying for you, and we will work out some kind of way where we can have a live video sometime where we can take questions and answers. But now let's get this show started. Today is about you, Ashley James. So
I'm excited. Jumping in, I'd love to start with the prayer that I put in my book. The Lord spoke to me and said, why don't we get everyone to pray for everyone who's reading the book? And
yes.
I was nervous because, as you know, this day and age, the motto in modern society is you can be too religious, but you can't be too secular. Mm-hmm. And it's just really sick and wrong the way modern society celebrates secularism and cancels anyone who follows Christ or seeks God. And yet so many of us do. So we're kind of like closeted. So many of us, right?
The feeling especially when you become a Christian, you kind of feel like this black sheep, just kind of casted out, of society, or people like your regular friends seem to, there's a distinct segregation, and really, we want to be with everybody, and we want to share our love and the love of Jesus with everybody. It's not that we are trying to pressure anyone. It's just that we have so much love that we want to share, and I'm just I feel that from you, that like when you do your podcast and when you teach people, that you're just pouring out your love into everything. And a little bit of the book that I've read, Ashley, I've noticed that it's just so full of love, and we would love to hear your prayer if you would be ready.
So it's in my book is really big. It's 8.5 by 11. And the font is big enough so you don't need your glasses, hopefully, if you're needing reading glasses. I just really wanted to make it comfortable for people to dive in. And so although this is a health book, it's also a workbook. So there's those points in the book where it's interactive, and you get to enter information in the book, and you are guided on challenges, on weekly challenges, that in a very light-hearted way stretch you outside your comfort zone to adapt new healthy habits that will build up the foundations of health. My goal was to not make this too like cumbersome or sciencey or like weighed down. I just wanted it to be light, so you could pick up the book and read it for 5 minutes and get something out of it, or read it for half an hour and get something out of it, and then interact with it for 5 minutes through the journaling, or 15 minutes or 30 minutes, however much time you have, and you're going to get somewhere with it, because it's going to guide you. So this is setting the intention at the beginning of the book. This is my belief and my prayer for you. I recognize you may not be religious or Christian, so whatever your belief system is, I wish these blessings upon you, and that you have a successful, joyous, and transformative journey following this book. If you are accepting of prayer, please take this prayer and say it with me, so that you and everyone else holding and reading this book will receive it. Dear Lord, thank you, God. And we're also extending this prayer now for everyone listening today. Thank you, God.
I'm going to close my eyes and listen while you pray.
Okay, great. Thank you for your loving presence, the plan you have laid out for us, and the life purpose you've given each of us. Please sanctify this reader's and this listener's health journey and make it fruitful, lasting, and meaningful. Turn their pain and suffering into strength, wisdom, and endurance. Bless them with patience as you guide them to even better health through their participation in the challenges in this book and listening to this podcast today and the resources it provides. Please bless the readers and listeners of this book with a blessing of protection and wisdom over them and their loved ones. Please strengthen, heal, and support them in all their healthy endeavors. Guide their steps, pad their falls, and quicken their recovery when they falter along the way to their success. Put a shield of protection around them so the arrows of temptation, naysaying, and even self-doubt fall by the wayside. Guide their family and friends to support and bless them so the fruits of their efforts become plentiful. Fill them with your holy, healing presence and help them learn true health while becoming addicted to wellness. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Wow.
So it feels really, it feels so good to pray for my readers and my listeners, and not everyone's Christian. And I just hope that those who aren't just recognize that I'm asking an outpouring of love from the Holy Spirit, from Father God. You know, whether they believe in God or not. It's there's this bumper sticker on a car at our church, and I laugh out loud every time I see it. It says it's okay. God doesn't believe in atheists either. So you don't have to believe in God. I'm going to pray for you anyway. And I just hope that people take that the right way. That they, and of course, this being a Christian podcast, I know everyone listening is taking it the right way. Right. But I just hope that everyone who reads the book knows that I'm coming from a place of love and wanting the divine love to surround them through their health journey. That we can make healing and health be fun. Coming from someone who struggled my whole life with health and building myself up. And if I hadn't chosen to constantly work on my health, I don't know if I'd still be alive, right? So some people could just, I don't know, drive through the fast food, drive through every day and drink alcohol every day and smoke cigarettes or vape or whatever, and they kind of coast through life. And there's others like us who, if we don't eat 5 pounds of vegetables a day, we become sick. Like it's just it's interesting. So everyone's at a different place in their health, and I wanted to help wherever you are, whoever you are. I want to give you the tools to build yourself up, and that's what this book is about. It's a journey.
I'm so excited. I actually got to get a sneak peek of the book for those who are watching and listening. And Ashley, so I gotta tell you, I love first that it's not an app. I'm so glad you didn't go for an app, because I can just take this with me to ballet. And a lot of us who are going on this wellness journey, we're trying to get back into the natural world of how our bodies work and how our brains work. And I think that just takes it to the next step of just having reading and spending that intimate time with you, which I just feel you in your book. So, and for the people watching and listening, if you've listened to Learn True Health podcast, you're going to love the book first, because it's just like you're with Ashley through this little journey. And I'm already on, I'm still working on the first week, because I've only done it for about a week.
Nice.
It helps me to have a vision, a greater vision. So before I share about the little bit that I've done, would you tell us about what we could expect in your book a little further? So there's a journey. Can you give us a little more detail about the journey?
Right. Yeah. So I'm glad you pointed out that it's not electronic. I didn't want to make it an ebook because it's really easy to get distracted when you're just on your phone reading a book. Coming from someone who reads a lot of books and a lot of times is on my phone reading a lot of health books. It's helpful sometimes, but I wanted it to be an interactive experience because this is your journey that you're participating in. And so there are
Right.
times when you want to write and it's holding on to this almost an inch thick. It's not that heavy though. It's, it's easy to hold on to, but it's nice
Mm-hmm.
and stiff and about an inch thick. And it guides you through these health challenges. Let me get to like a morning and a night. So each week you're given a morning and an evening to
Mm-hmm.
check in, and it's going to be about 5 minutes to fill it out. It's not, and I'm a busy working mom, so I know
Mm-hmm.
that our time is precious, and I took that into account. I wanted to make it so that busy people can do this
Yeah.
and also get something out of writing it. And I ended up following the book myself and filling out the entries, and it's something feels so satisfactory to write in the evening and complete the questionnaire in the evening and just go, okay, what can I learn from today? Like just take that 5 minutes of self-reflection. What can I learn from today? What
Mm-hmm.
went right and what went wrong in a sense of how can I learn from that? And how
Right.
can I do better tomorrow? And what will I do better tomorrow? Or maybe better is not the right word, because we're not like grading ourselves like I'm bad today and I'll be good tomorrow. It's more like, oops, this is where it didn't work for me. And
Right.
what can I put in place tomorrow to see if that will work for me?
Does
So
it
for
help you?
sorry?
Does it help you to feel more fulfilled then in what your sense of being is? Then would you say
I
something
feel,
like
yeah,
that?
I feel like it is. Well, if we start with gratitude, we always start with
Oh.
gratitude, and then we talk about what you in the evening, what you appreciate
Hmm. Yeah.
about yourself in this
Hmm.
journey and what went well today and what good choices you made. And then we talk about what didn't serve you and what challenged you the most and what can you learn from these challenges.
Hmm.
We grade how we did today based on good, better, best. So
I like
did
that.
I what kind of percentage of effort did I put in? And it's okay, because even if we put in 1%, it's 1% more than we would have if we were kind of like bumping through life unconsciously. So you grade yourself and like, you know what, life was really crazy today. I did a good job. I did my good. We have a
Yeah.
verse in the book about good, better, best.
Right.
And I love teaching this to my clients because the clients will ask me like, well, should I buy fresh, organic, locally sourced vegetables? Is that the best thing for me? Are frozen vegetables bad for me? And I say, listen, like we are busy moms, right? We're busy women. Maybe you don't have to be a mom, but you're a busy woman. And yes, I do have some male listeners. I'm sure you might as well. But for the most part, it's women listening. So we're busy women. And I can't speak to what it's like to be a man, although, like, I look at men, and for the most part, I feel like we as women take on a lot more responsibilities. We're juggling responsibilities. Men might take on one or two big responsibilities, but most men, and I know I'm being stereotypical here, most women
Yeah.
take on like 50 tasks, right? Like I'm the chauffeur, I am like the cruise director of our house, I am the cook, I'm the seamstress,
Hmm.
I'm the maid, I'm also career mom, I'm also homeschooling. Like just the list goes on and on and on and on. So we task switch all the time, and we're juggling all these responsibilities. And to sit down and take a few minutes to focus in on our internal health, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health, and to learn from what happened. And the book teaches us to implement small, doable, but powerful health habits that make a huge difference. So, for example, I'm going to use water. It's such a simple example. Most people take sort of hydration for granted. If you, you're drinking, here's my water. If
Yes.
you don't carry a water container with you, you are dehydrated. I'd bet money. If I was a betting woman, I would say that if you don't walk around every day with a water bottle in your purse, in your car, by your desk, in your home, in the laundry room, wherever, if you're in the kitchen, you could just pour yourself a glass of water. But the point being, if you don't have a water bottle with you all the time, you are
Mhm.
dehydrated, because we need we're like a garden in so many ways, and we need that light, watering throughout the day, and just chugging a glass with each meal isn't cutting it. Most people are bumping around chronically dehydrated, which leads to a drop in energy. It leads to hormone problems. It leads to energy problems,
Mm-hmm.
which I discussed. It leads to digestive issues like chronic constipation. It leads to more digestive issues because if you don't have enough water, nothing's working. Joint pain, achiness, brain fog, everything breaks down. It's like kind of like running your car with low oil.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is not working properly. Now, one of my mentors, Dr. Molly Niedermeyer, who was the dean of Bastyr University, the Naturopathic Clinic here in Seattle, University here in Seattle, and she's practiced for over 30 years. She's delivered over 1,000 babies. She's an amazing doctor, and she taught me that if we are even 5%, 5% reduction in the water we're meant to consume. So let's say your a perfect amount, and we have a calculation in the book for where your perfect hydration levels are.
I would
But
like
let's
to
say
see
your
that.
perfect hydration levels are 100 ounces. A 5% reduction would be just 5 ounces less. That is a very small glass. So a 5% reduction in hydration leads to a 25% reduction in energy production, meaning when we're chronically dehydrated, which most people are, and if you don't have a water bottle that you carry around all the time and refill it because you're drinking the water throughout the day, you're likely dehydrated. If you're dehydrated, your body cannot produce enough cellular energy, which is ATP. And if you can't produce enough ATP, then you feel tired and sluggish, and plus there's the brain fog going on. And so what do we do? What do we do when we're tired in the morning?
Drink coffee.
And what does coffee do?
It dehydrates you. I know it does a
It
few other
dehydrates
things. Yes,
us further. That's right.
it
Now, I'm not telling
leaches
you
our
not to drink coffee
calcium
like
and everything.
before you freak out, because some people are highly addicted to their coffee, and I respect that. The book does not push you. We gently nudge and support it with some evidence, and then challenge you to try things for 7 days. So
Yeah.
if you have never done a 7-day water challenge, meaning to drink enough water throughout the day, then that would be where you'd start for 7 days. And if
Yeah.
you know you drink enough water, you carry your water bottle with you, you drink, 100 plus ounces a day, then your challenge in the book, because there's between 1 and 4 challenges
Mhm.
in each week, then your challenge might be to incorporate
Right.
herbal remedies within your water. There's certain herbs you can diffuse in your water, which have health benefits. Or your challenge might be to have a seven days of being alcohol free or
Mhm.
caffeine free, or,
Mhm.
basically taking away all the things you drink and only focusing on water for 7 days. And
That's
that's the
amazing.
big challenge. So your
Yeah.
little challenge would be just drink enough water based on the
Right.
calculation in the book. So you calculate based on your body weight and your activity levels, and you drink that enough water every day for 7 days. It takes 7 days actually for the body to become fully hydrated again from a chronically dehydrated state.
Wow.
But what happens is magical at the end of that 7 days, and you'll be seeing it because you're writing. You're spending, between 5 and 10 minutes in the morning and 5 and 10 minutes at night. You're
Mm.
writing everything out, so you see at the end of the week that your sleep is better, your digestion is better, your energy is better. Things dramatically improve by drinking enough water, and we self-medicate. Imagine this: someone who's chronically dehydrated, they get up in the morning, they're tired, they drink coffee. Now they're more dehydrated because coffee and anything with caffeine will dehydrate us further. It's a diuretic, makes the body pee more, basically.
Mhm.
And then in the afternoon, you're even more tired. So now you're going for the sugar
Mhm.
and more caffeine possibly.
Mhm.
And then your body is so wired and so stressed out because you have drank too much caffeine and sugar, that then we go for the alcohol at night to calm us down.
Not
And this
unwind.
further, yeah, to unwind from all the it's basically people are just self-medicating over the counter uppers and downers. It's just like the 60s, right? All over again, the 60s and 70s, except you're doing it with legal substances that are socially acceptable, but you might as well
Mhm.
just go to Studio 54 or whatever, because it's like you're just taking your body on this roller coaster of uppers and downers every day, just to survive, and it will catch up to you. And a lot of women in their 40s and their 50s it has already caught up to you because you're exhausted, you have adrenal fatigue, and your PMS symptoms are getting worse, your skin is getting worse, your hair is getting worse, your digestion's getting worse, everything's getting worse, and it's gradual. And you think back and you go, because well, this is one of my questions for my clients when I first work with them. I say, when did you feel your best? And they think back, and it is a long time. It's usually like, wow, when I was 19 or when I was in my 20s. And that's really sad that, we're feeling this unhealthy for so long. And if we go to a traditional doctor, they're going to give you drugs to suppress symptoms and not get to the root cause. And the root cause is starting with the foundations of health. You wouldn't build a house. And I love that, the parables of where you build your house. If are you going to build it on a rock, or are you going to build it on a beach?
Right.
And if you don't have a foundation, a strong foundation, meaning the foundations of health, which are the 33 health habits you learn in the book, if you don't have those foundations of health, then you're going to suffer because you're chronically dehydrated and your lifestyle is deficient in those foundations of health. And then we rush to doctors and get put on drug after drug after drug to just suppress symptoms, which then create more side effects, which are more symptoms that then get treated with more drugs. When all along we could have started with hydrating. I have a family member who's in her 80s, and she's had chronic diarrhea episodes because of her food choices. So she chooses to eat food that she knows causes her to have chronic diarrhea. And she just recently chose to, because she had a few really bad episodes that landed her in the hospital of chronic diarrhea. And right after those episodes, so she'll have diarrhea for like 4 days. And she doesn't, by the way, does not drink enough water. She drinks maybe 20 ounces a day, right? She has chronic diarrhea for 4 days, and then she's dizzy. And I said to her every single time, because we take care of her, I say to her, you need to drink more water, you're dehydrated, and that's why you're dizzy, right? So she goes to the ER, and you know what they did? They put her on a pill for being dizzy. I'm like, she's dehydrated, right? And then we saw another doctor, and that doctor, it was an endocrinologist for something else. And she told the endocrinologist, oh, well, every time I have this, I get dizzy. And he goes, yeah, because you're dehydrated. Like, you didn't need to be put on a dizzy pill. You need to drink water. So it's something so simple, but I guarantee you 70% of the American population, probably similar for other countries, is chronically dehydrated because of our lifestyle, because we weren't born with a manual. We were born with a health manual, and most people weren't taught these foundations of health. My mom was a water pusher, so I grew up drinking enough water. And now in the day and age where anyone can, turn a mason jar with a lid bought on Amazon. I love this thing. We drink out of mason jars, but we travel with it everywhere. We carry them everywhere. And, when you can go to the thrift store and buy yourself like a stainless steel. You don't have to spend a lot of money. A lot of times the water containers I get are just really good brands, but they're maybe dented or something, and they're at the thrift store for $3. So go to the thrift store, get yourself a water bottle, and always carry it with you. And that's week 2 in the book. Because week 1, we talk about mindfulness and doing mindfulness practices to get reacclimated with listening to our body and bringing down the stress response. It's really interesting what you get out of just 7 days of doing one health habit that has such a huge impact on your overall well-being, because our physical health impacts our mental, emotional health as well. And then when we are more focused and calm, we can hear that soft, still voice, because I'm always listening for God. And when my health is poor, it's harder to hear it, right? When we got the brain fog, and it's almost like the devil, right? You're thinking about it. It's like that, all the distractions to keep you distracted from his voice. So the more we focus on our health, the more we're creating a stronger connection with God, which I love Jehovah's Witnesses for that matter. They recognize that the body's a holy temple. It's a gift that God gave us. How cool is that? And so we should take care of it as if you would take care of the tabernacle, as if you would take care of the altar at your church, right? You wouldn't throw McDonald's fries at it. We take care of our church better than we take care of our bodies. So it's just, we need to do a little switch in our brain and go, you know what? I want to go on a health journey, and I want to build myself up, even though I'm busy and I got a million things going on. I want to spend a few minutes every day building myself up. And so that's what this book is about.
I'm just so impressed with it, and I just love that feeling, because I'm already going through, for myself, I know you have all of your listeners, but for myself, I'm like, I know I have high cortisol and I have very low testosterone. And so I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I have the research, I know the doctors to go to and everything, but I feel like this book is also helping me not only get your guidance, but just help me bring everything that I know and that I've learned from Learn Truth Health podcast too, just kind of in a focused book where I can go on this journey of what I know I'm supposed to be doing, and I can take that journey with you without calling you, because I know you'd probably pick up the phone if I did. But since we don't have a terrible amount of time today, I have a couple of questions that I want to get in, okay?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, and then we will probably have to have you back, because I have so many questions, especially as you talk about health, and more than anything is that my podcast, and while we're still growing into what we're becoming, is about the body and about our spirit, and not in like the typical mind, body, spirit, where we're separating the three and we're caring for each, but that this is our temple, this is our gift, and that kind of thing. And I also come from skincare. So like when you're talking about I'm going to go on a rabbit hole super quick before I ask those questions. Being in the skincare industry, I know we lavish these moisturizers, and in all honesty, even as a skincare formulator selling moisturizers, I know the best way to moisturize and nourish our body is to eat and drink water. Like if you're eating lots of water, you're eating lots of fruity, juicy fruits, you're going to hydrate more efficiently than putting the Band-Aid on. So I think the two really go hand in hand. That's just my thinking as a skincare brand. I'm just like, I'm even studying gut health, how it correlates to the skin. But that's for my own show for some time. I'm ready to go into my questions.
Okay. I love that. I love that eating hydrating foods, because you're getting the fiber, you're getting the nutrients. I think everything needs to be in balance, and timing of meals and how much you eat also matter. There's so much to food, but and my book does go through demystifying some of the big diet dogmas. And I come from the standpoint of nourishing the body to reverse disease and to help the body heal itself. So your listeners don't know, but I used to be incredibly sick, and I had a lot of health issues, including illnesses that doctors told me I'd never heal from, that I'd always have. And I no longer have any of them. And I used nutrition, supplementation, and food and lifestyle. I use holistic medicine to support my body's ability to heal itself. So, and you can too. And that's why I wrote this book. That's why I started my podcast 8 years ago. It's all about helping people to reverse those illnesses that their doctors told them they'd always have. God could just like heal you, like bam, like God can just go, you're healed, right? And so many examples of the Bible show that there's this period of pregnancy. I use the word pregnancy because it's like this. It's like first we have it here, and we have it here, and then it becomes manifested into reality. But it's over time, right? And so we pray for something, and we also need to take the actions, right? Take the actions ourselves, and and our intention and our prayer, and our physical actions have to line up together, and over time it unfolds.
Correcting the internal voice.
Yes.
Correcting the physical actions.
Yeah.
So that actually kind of answers some of the questions. I just want to get through these questions because we have about
Okay.
12 minutes. I want you to tell us the name of your book, why you wrote the book,
Okay.
and kind of how it came about. If you can squeeze
Okay.
that into about 12 minutes.
Well, this is the
It's so
proof
pretty, by
because
the way.
it says not for resale because it's the proof.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is coming out any second now because Amazon is taking longer than expected for them to let it be published. It's in review.
Mm-hmm.
But I got
I'm so
that I
excited.
did print the proof. And so it's called, so my podcast is called Learn True Health.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is called Addicted to Wellness. The Healthy Addiction, 12-week workbook for creating a lifelong love of well-being. And I have a whole story I won't tell you right now, but maybe when you have me back on the show, I'll tell you the story of the cover. The title Addicted to Wellness for me was so perfect. I was hunting for the title while I was writing it, and I was waiting for the title to come to us. We had a bunch of working titles that were like, whatever, it'll come to us. The real one will come to us. Let's just keep writing the book.
Yeah.
And I was doing an interview, and the person I interviewed said addicted to wellness, and I was like, oh, my head exploded. And he said I could keep it. I was like, I'm stealing that. He's like, you can have it,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a conversation I've had so many times with so many people, and on my podcast and off my podcast, this concept that we can get to a point, but we kind of have to be the black sheep in society to go against the grain, but we can transform our life so that we're craving healthy pleasures, right? Craving healthy activities. In an era where we focus so much on the negative, we focus so much on
Mm-hmm.
indulging in the unhealthy, and that's what Hollywood tries to do. Again, that comes back to that whole secularism is celebrated, like sin is celebrated in every capacity, and it's like, oh, your boyfriend broke up with you, here, gluttony, eat some ice cream, like,
Mm-hmm.
just pig out in front of the
So
TV with some
go
ice
out
cream,
and
that'll make you
party and
feel better.
celebrate.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of
it's
ways. Yeah.
it's if put on your like the 12 deadly sins glasses and just for fun and like watch just mainstream television,
Mm-hmm.
the agenda that is pushed, and it's programming because it's brainwashing. And I love TV, don't get me wrong, but when I watch TV, I watch it through that lens, and I'm like, oh, look, they're trying to do it. They're trying to convince me that, sex out of marriage is cool, and like, sleeping around with a new partner every night's cool, like what they're pushing. Oh, and everyone drinks alcohol, everyone just is always pouring themselves a glass of wine, every single TV show, every man's holding a beer. They did this in the 50s and the 40s with cigarettes, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
Edward Bernays who convinced women that smoking cigarettes was sexy by
Mm-hmm.
using Hollywood. And he was able to double their sales because women didn't smoke largely. Most women didn't smoke because it was seen as something that bad boys did. And then he convinced everyone by brainwashing them that smoking was sexy. So we just have to be cautious of that. At every turn, your entire life, you have been brainwashed, and you can unbrainwash yourself, right? Thank God. You've been brainwashed to believe that it's good to satisfy the pleasure, like, oh, just go through the drive-through, let's go get takeout, like let's feed that addiction to food and sugar and alcohol and even drugs, right? Feed the addiction, pornography, all that. It's good to do it,
So,
but it's getting people wrapped up in the addiction brain. They took a large percentage of children when I was growing up and put them on Ritalin, put them on Adderall, right?
yeah,
Because
we had a
they were
couple
hyper,
family members. Yep.
and what they were feeding them in the school system was foods that would cause them to be hyper. So we've now jacked with their brains, and it does permanent damage to the brain, to the developing brain. So we have a large percentage of the population with addiction brain, and then the programming coming at them is about, here's your substance, here's the thing to crave, here's the thing to crave, and it creates ill health. and then they go to the doctor and get put on drugs. And not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but if you spend even 5 minutes looking into who owns the media and who pays the largest amount of ad revenue, it's pharmaceutical companies. They have made their entire population sick. 70% of American population, just I can only speak to America, but everyone's kind of following in our footsteps. 70% of Americans are on at least one prescription medication. That's disgusting. It's like that we spend the most in all the nations. We spend the most on healthcare, disease management, but we have the lowest outcomes. It's gross. So in a world where everyone's sick, but no one can see it because it's accepted, to go against that and say, I'm going to crave kale. I'm going to crave water. I'm going to crave getting up early and going to bed early. I'm going to crave moving my body every day in a way that brings me joy. Doesn't have to be going to the gym. It could be starting, a volleyball team, or it could be playing dodgeball with your friends. It can, it can be whatever you want, but move your body in a way that brings you joy every day. These little health habits that build you up. You could say, I'm choosing to have a meatless meal once a week, or maybe my dinners are meatless and I eat lentils instead, or maybe I try the Daniel fast, or maybe I try 24 hours of water only fasting and prayer, or maybe I do it for 3 days, or I'm going to try, adding a new vegetable every week or every day. I'm going to try eating, 3 servings of vegetables and 1 serving of fruit, because I've never done that. So it's find things that build you up, that are healthy, and we create the whole book. The premise of the book is to get you to where we are craving in a good way. Craving. You use that addiction brain for your benefit. Crave the things that build you up. And now when I think of kale, I love kale and I love cabbage, and that wasn't always the case. I ate a beautiful cabbage and kale salad for lunch today. When I think of kale and cabbage, I begin to drool. I get so excited. This is kind of the same as you might drool if you thought of a chocolate muffin or cupcake or a donut.
Cinnamon roll.
Yeah, sorry?
Cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll. Yeah, from Cinnabon. You know what? When we went to the mall, I could smell Cinnabon, and I joked with my friend. I said, just the smell it. It's free. Just smell it. It's all you need to do. Just inhale the air. Deep breaths. It's healthy for you. Breathe healthy deep breaths to smell the cinnamon, and that's it. We're going to keep walking. So we create healthy habits, but what's really cool is we can get to the point where your body has the same excited response to kale as it did to donuts in the past. When I think about donuts now, I actually kind of go, ugh, I don't want to feel it makes me feel super gross after eating a donut. I get the sugar rush and then the sugar crash, and then I'm hungry 45 minutes later, and then I'm kind of achy and puffy. And what's the point, right? There's no ROI. There's no return on investment. And same with drinking alcohol. There's no return on investment. It actually causes us poor sleep. It causes us for 24 hours, your body's in a higher state of stress. And it makes us eat more calories the next day. Any consumption of alcohol, our body craves more calories the next day, and we get poor sleep, and it causes the body to go into more stress, which again repeats the cycle, because then you want alcohol the next evening to lower the stress, which then it raises it again. So people are caught in these cycles, unhealthy cycles, and my book helps you to recognize them and to begin to break them by choosing a different path. Every time we choose a different path, we start to break that cycle. So we do talk a bit about using the neuroscience, the aspect of using how our brain works to our advantage. And by the end of the book, you'll find that you begin to crave the activities that build you up and make you happy, and bring you joy and bring peace in your body.
Wow. Oh, I'm so loaded with so many questions. Gosh, I love all of that, Ashley. And I did get to start on my journey in your book, because you so graciously gave me something to look at before we did this interview. And I want the book. I'm like, okay, because I'm just working on pieces of paper right now through it.
Yay.
And I love, one thing I liked about your book is that when I had So I know my symptoms. I know I have low cortisol, right? So I was able
Mm-hmm.
to use um just use your podcast to help me with the low cortisol. I found episode 449, Your Body in Balance, The New Science of Food, Hormones, and Health by Dr. Neil Barnyard. And I was
Yes.
just kind of blown away by a lot of little nuggets in that episode, and I was able to listen to that while the kids were doing their schoolwork, and then I was reading through your book. And it was so easy to use your book with your podcast too. And I liked it too that, like, I feel like even if you've never heard Learn True Health podcast, that you'd be like, I have this weighing thing that I want to deal with that's being presented or pulled out of me through this book that I want to address. You can just hop on learntruepodcast.com or iTunes and go to and search, keyword for whatever it is that's your issue is. For me at that time, I was looking at low cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm a happy person. I'm a very happy person. I love everyone. I am always going, but I have high stress. My
Yeah.
reactions are, I have stress outbursts,
Yeah.
and then I have symptoms of stress,
Yeah.
with my
So
allergies.
that's let me talk to that point, because I think that's really acute. Like that is important that you're pointing this out. I feel like a lot of women, especially in their 40s, going into their 50s, have this where they notice that they're normally happy people. They're normally like easygoing people, and then their kid does one thing and they're like set off, and they're like hearts racing, and they're kind of like maybe they got this rage happening, and they're like, why? I'm not an angry person. Like, why is my nervous system hairpin trigger, like waiting to explode? And that is a sign that you are revving at 9,000 RPM when it comes to your stress
Right,
levels. Stress is not an emotion. We have a whole chapter on this in the book.
right,
Stress is not an emotion. So you don't know when you are living in constant high stress. You don't know. And we have to look for the symptoms, the
right.
signs, the telltale signs that your body is in high stress. And that one of those telltale signs is that the small things will set you off. Sudden loud noises will make your body go into a state of panic or shock, or you're like, where you like, it takes you a few minutes to recover. We were just driving the other day and a
Overstimulate.
really loud noise happened, and I was like, for a second. And it's like that, but it's like if you don't, it's like you don't recover from that. It takes you longer to recover from sudden loud noises, or you kind of overreact, like and it's not your emotional body, it's your physical body actually overreacts as if it was a real threat, right? Like a real bear was coming at you. And that's just because your whole nervous system is in fight or flight almost all the time, and you don't know it. And
Right.
so once you follow the tools, the steps in my book, which get you out of fight or flight, then you go, oh, this is what it feels like. This is how I'm supposed to feel all the time. And the more you do those exercises every day, the more you lower your stress response. So there are lifestyle things to do. There's even dietary things you can do to
Okay.
support your body and your nervous system to come out of stress. But what's so important to understand is that stress is not an emotion. So don't expect to feel stressed. Like, well, I don't feel stressed out. Like, that's how most women are. Like, I don't feel stressed out. I'm like, honey, you're getting like 3 hours of sleep a night. You are stressed out. If you have problems
That is
sleeping,
so true.
yeah, and I know you because you're up at 3 a.m. making face cream, like you know,
Yes. Yes.
and so many women. Like, I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many of my girlfriends, and I'm guilty of it too sometimes. I'm more protective now of my sleep, in that I'm like telling my husband, it's 10 o'clock, we're going to bed, right? It's 10 o'clock. And when I tell that to some women, they're like, 10's when like the kids are asleep. That's my time, right? That's my time to party. And I talk about this in the book, where I took one mom who was my client, and she would do all her work. She ran her own business. She would do all her emails after the kids went to bed. But I asked her, like, she had brain fog because she was so tired. And I said,
Yeah.
what if you went to bed at 8 with your kids and you woke up in the morning and you did all the things you wanted to do before because it's the same amount of time.
It's
Just go to bed with the
miracles
kids.
happen if you get up before your kids. I'm telling you, I'm just like, if you can get up and take a shower, brush your teeth, and just sit,
Yeah.
whether you read the Bible or you're just even just silence, or you get all the things that you want done. For me,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's yesterday's dishes. Like,
but it's the same amount of time. But if you go to bed early and then you do the things you want to do at night, you do them in the morning, you will get them done faster because you're now rested. Now, some people are in such bad chronic fatigue that it takes them a bit to like wake up in the morning. And that's something throughout the book and following the steps in the book that will go away. You will wake up energized, but you have to do the activities that build your body back up. And for coming from someone who had such bad chronic adrenal fatigue, I couldn't wake up till 11 in the morning. And I also couldn't process human language in the morning. It was the weirdest thing. It was like watching Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. You know, my husband would talk to me and I'm like, I haven't had 4 cups of coffee yet. You can't talk to me. Like, I just don't even hear you. And that was how bad my chronic adrenal fatigue was. And I was diagnosed through lab tests. Like it was legit diagnosis that I overcame, not using drugs, using nutrition and lifestyle. And so that's a lot of the things that I did are in the book as well. So just recognize if you know your nervous system is that hairpin trigger, that you can heal from that, but you have to do daily things to bring your nervous system out of stress response. And that's a big part of the book.
Well, I already know the answer to this, but would you come back to Skin and Spirit podcast?
I'd love that. That'd be great.
Awesome.
I'd love that. And I'd love to teach some things. So far, it's just been like me telling you how great my book is, but I'd love to.
And that's why we're having you here today. So because I want to share how great your book is. And I know how great it is because I know how great you are. And not only do you have everyone that you've interviewed, like over 500 interviews or something like that of professionals, some professionals and some people like me. So you get a really wide mix of education. Plus, you're also a wellness coach. And why don't you tell us about who you are, why we should trust you, Ashley? I know why I trust you, knowing you for so long. But share with us about you, where the listeners and watchers can find you, and then we'll split.
Okay, yeah. So my podcast is called Learn True Health, all spelled correctly. LearnTrueHealth.com. My husband, he claims that he named it. We kind of have a running joke because I think I named it and he thinks he named it. But the name is perfect. God probably named it and then like whispered it to us. So the purpose of Learn True Health was I was sick for many years, type 2 diabetes, chronic adrenal fatigue, chronic infections, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and infertility. I was told I'd never have kids. I only had 2 cycles a year. I was a complete mess. My liver was distended. It was inflamed. I just had a lot of weird things going on. And, doctors gave me drugs and that didn't help. And I turned to holistic medicine, and it was amazing how my body flourished and how quickly I was able to resolve all those major health issues that doctors that spent $500,000 on their degrees and think they know better than everyone, they were just dumb. They are just sharing nonsense. I love doctors for emergency medicine. If I had my arm broken, I want to go see them, but when it comes to chronic medicine, they are just plain dumb because they don't look outside of the scope of drug-based medicine to learn how to help the body heal itself. And so I learned from several amazing naturopathic doctors and other types of holistic practitioners that taught me how to heal my body and how the body heals and how you have a God-given ability to heal yourself. You just got to get out of your own way. You got to stop giving your body what hurts it, start giving your body what it needs, and then just watch as the miracle of life, the more you study health and the more you study your body, you see God, you see the beauty of life. And so I love health, holistic health. Holistic means looking at everything as a whole, that your spiritual health is the same as your physical health is. So eating healthy foods is a spiritual practice, is a mentally healthy practice, is an emotionally healthy practice, is a physically healthy practice, and that we can look to see how we can heal on those 4 levels using nutrition, using lifestyle change habits in a busy world where everything's chaotic and where we're staying up till 3 a.m. because we're juggling 500 things. You know, in the busy world, that's what I learned from doing it myself, from working with my clients I've actually, before I became a health coach about 12 years ago, before that, I've actually been working with clients for 20 years. And before that, I was doing neurolinguistic programming, which is a combination of behavioral psychology and cognitive therapy. So I was doing that kind of coaching, helping people on an emotional, mental level, and then the health level complements it so well. They come together. So that's learntruehealth.com is my website. And I started the podcast to take everything I learned, because I was able to reverse all those health conditions, conceive naturally. We have an amazing son who is God's gift to me. I feel so blessed because I was told I'd never have kids. And we using natural medicine, we conceive naturally. And no, you know, every doctor doesn't believe that you can heal polycystic ovarian syndrome, but all my labs say otherwise. So that's the power of your body and your body's ability to heal itself and natural medicine. So I'd love to come back on your show, and thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you, Ashley. I'm just so excited. You know me, I get nervous on shows, but
You've been great. You're doing awesome.
Well, you have. I've had a little bit of training just by listening to you, and that's like you mentor me not just in like the wellness, but like how to carry yourself in different ways. And I believe my spiritual journey goes back to like more like 9 years ago. I was a little bit, you know, and then but you kind of try to like it helps to gravitate towards people who are also on a spiritual journey, and just to kind of go on those journeys together and to be there for each other. And I always look up to you because I've always just kind of gone along with you. I don't know what I'm trying to express, but that I appreciate you, and I'm grateful to have you in my life. And I'm really hoping that the listeners get everything that they want out of this. And if they didn't, that they'll get it out of the next episode with you, Ashley.
Stay tuned. Part 2 coming soon.
Yes, I feel encouraged. I only have 1 minute before I have to scoot, but my kids I gotta get a girl to ballet. But I'm just, the journey of Skin and Spirit started with that I wanted to connect to everyone who reaches out to me in prayer, because when I do my skincare business, I'm not just a skincare brand. I am me. You know, I think that a lot of my customers come to me because they first come to me because they buy into me and who I am, because I care for them and I love them, and then they come back because the products are good. But that's my theory, and I don't know if that's conceited or what, but it's just how I feel, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't come off as conceited. You're being truthful. People come to you, they love your product, and then they get you're genuine, and then they gravitate towards your authenticity, and you authentically love them, pray for them, want them to be well. And I feel like that might be why my podcast is so successful, because I'm vulnerable and authentic. I'm myself, and I want my guests to be themselves, and I'm just want to do away with the whole like trying to like, I don't know, that Hollywood like trying that fake, you know, like no filters. I'm no filters, and I want you to be no filters, you know, like just be yourself. It's okay. And
So and that's another thing is like, I don't want to be a skincare brand. I want to be me with everybody, you know, and that's one thing. And we I would like to invite the watchers and listeners today to go on this journey with not only with Skin and Spirit, but go to learn true health and go on that journey too, because we're all in this together. It doesn't matter whether you're what podcast you're listening to, that we're all going through these journeys together, and we're all trying to help each other. And both Ashley and I love you guys, and we are praying for you. If you want prayer, you could send your requests. You know me. You can probably find my email anywhere, and if not, I will have it linked down. And then Ashley, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm excited to get a hard copy of your book. So you
Yes.
have it right
Any
there.
second now. Any
Any
second now.
second.
Amazon's gonna release it, and it'll be there, and people can go to learntruehealth.com, and I'll make sure there's a link in the menu there the moment it comes out.
All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Bye, Ashley. Bye, guys.